We have AI built into all our software. We do machine learning. We have analytics. You can visualize, you can predict collections, which accounts might be late payers, and you can proactively reach out and say, hey, we'd like to provide you a discount if you pay early. So we provide the analytics insight so you can optimize your cash flow, lower your cost of doing business, and improve customer satisfaction all at once.
In this episode, I'm talking to Grant Johnson, CMO of Billtrust, a leading provider of accounts receivable automation, working with companies like Coca-Cola, Caterpillar, FedEx, and more. We're going to talk about, one, the company's top 3 marketing channels that drive the most result. Number 2, how they use webinars to bring in 70, 80, 100 ICPs into a virtual room. And number 3, which pay-per-click channels they're still using in 2023 to reach other businesses. We're also going to try to figure out all the metrics behind the company, things like revenue, CPA, LTV, and more. I mean, they are one of the largest accounts receivable software companies in the world. And if you can't answer a question, both have to take a shot of hot sauce. Wish me luck, Martians. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, we're joined by the CMO of a company called Billtrust. And for those of you that don't know, Billtrust, basically, they are a leading provider of accounts receivable automation software. In one short sentence, they help companies get paid faster. They work with companies like Coca-Cola, Caterpillar, FedEx, and more. Big companies. And super excited to be joined by the CMO, Grant, today. Grant, thank you so much for joining the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be with you. Happy Friday to anyone listening in real time or soon thereafter.
Yeah. I'll do a quick intro of you, Grant, and then you jump in and save me because there's no intro I can give you that will do you justice. I'm looking at your LinkedIn and it's incredible. You're a 5th-time CMO. You've been a CMO at a variety of different companies, 7 times acquired. So 7 of your companies have been acquired. And you just had such an incredible background. I'm just walking through. You've worked at companies like Pegasus Systems, Emburse most recently, Cylance, which was acquired by BlackBerry. Just incredible. So many different companies. FileNet, which was acquired by IBM. Guidance Software, acquired by OpenText. It seems like everything you touch turns into gold. Tell me a little bit about your background. If you were to just explain it in a few sentences or tell me about your background and what brought you to becoming the CMO of Billtrust.
Yeah, I consider myself an intentional marketer. I was fascinated by sales and marketing, found a home in marketing, set my sights on becoming the head of marketing, became CMO of Pegasus Systems in 2009. As you say, this is my 5th, I like to call it tour of duty. As a CMO, because it's a battlefield out there, and we've got internal battle, we've got customers, competitors, but it's a lot of fun. And with ChatGPT and MarTech stack, I don't think there's been a better time to be in marketing. Yes, I've had tremendous success and good fortune. I've had a few failures. We all have. You learn from those. But it's such a time if you have a thirst for knowledge and continuous learning is your mode of operandi. Then I think it's a great time to be in marketing. And I came to Billtrust because I think it's a tremendous opportunity. We're a leader in this B2B automation and payment space. We think there's a tremendous upside and growth over the next several years. One of your questions will tell you who we're backed by. And, it's a real positive culture. And so I've been here now coming on 6 months.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into everything Billtrust. We're also going to dive a little bit deeper into your background. You mentioned you had a couple of failures. Maybe we'll dive into that as well. But before we do all that, we have a little tradition on the show where we start off the show with a shot of hot sauce. And behind me, I have a wall of hot sauces, ranging from not super spicy all the way down to, as it gets closer to this emergency light, this is where it gets spicy. This is all Carolina Reaper here. These all 3. So what weapon do you have for us today? What are we going to start off with?
I'm a California native, and I've been to Mexico dozens of times and hablo español. And so one of the best known brands, Cholula. It won't make you cry like your 4th one, but it's still good.
Okay, it's okay. I'll do the crying for us today, for both of us. And then, so we're gonna start off the show. I don't know if you have a shot glass or a spoon, but okay, you got a spoon. And the theme of the show, as you know, I'm gonna be asking you tough questions. We have two new segments on the show as well, which I did not tell you purposely because I want it to be a surprise. Every single time you cannot answer a question, lights will go off. This light will go off. I don't control the light, but when the light goes off, we both take a shot of hot sauce. So let's we'll start off. I'm going to start off on this end, and I'm going to start with Mr. Picante, which is Spanish for hot, spicy. Yeah, and we'll start here. Cholulas. Cholulas is a safe bet.
Imported from Mexico, the label tells us.
Imported from Mexico. All right. Cheers. Mm-hmm. That's spicy, but it's okay.
Spicy. Yeah, it's okay. And I have a chaser. It's watered. You might think it's tequila.
Hey, I wouldn't mind if it was tequila. I really would not mind.
It's water.
Yeah. All right. So before we dive into anything, you said you're based in LA. You're California native. Have you spent your whole life in LA? Have you moved around a lot in your various roles as CMO?
Yeah, I have moved. I was in Boston, Pegasystems. Actually, it's at Cambridge, but people still call it Boston. It's the same general area.
Yeah.
They moved. I was there for. I like to say I was there for 4 winters. It felt, each winter I could feel as a native of California. And we have a timeshare with the ocean view in California. And about the 3rd winter, my wife and I looked at each other and said, yeah, I think one more winter will be enough. We'll come back.
4 winters. Yeah, Boston gets really cold, right? Like the snow, how much snow does it get?
Well, if it's a nor'easter, feet of snow, right? Every year can vary from normal to heavy snowfall. But we had some. I remember one year we were at Wellesley Hills and driving home from our sales meeting, and it took me like 3 tries to get up the hill with snow tires. A lot of snow.
My God. What's your favorite place to travel? Because I imagine you travel quite a bit. You said you have a timeshare as well. Sounds like you're a traveler. What's your favorite city or favorite place to be?
I was in Barcelona for my last company. We met with 150 Europeans, had a great time. I've lived in, this is before being a CMO, I lived in Spain. And I've lived in France, in Paris. And anywhere there's a beach is probably my favorite. We're going to go to Cancun this summer, right? Near the water. I don't know how you go wrong.
I was just there. I was just in Cancun 2 weeks ago. I did cool. A couple of podcasts from there as well. I love Mexico. And it's so close, right? So you can just go down there. Cool. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's give some love to Billtrust. So we're going to spend the next little while just talking about Billtrust, how you guys grew. But before we start all that, maybe explain to us in a few sentences what exactly Billtrust does, what problem is Billtrust solving, and I think I kind of explained it, and how do you guys make your money?
Yeah, if you think about, we call it order to cash. So we sell to businesses only, and it starts from maybe 25 million up to billions, as you mentioned at the outset. And I've been in for over a decade what I call financial process automation, and we're in that space, and we're selling to the Office of Finance. And if you think about a company will get an order from customers, you get hundreds of customers, thousands or tens of thousands of customers. Right. And why I said we help companies get paid faster, because that's like really important. But also not only do we help companies get paid faster, we improve their day sales outstanding. So that means there's less days that they've made a sale and they got paid, right? So we accelerate cash flow, and we can help them control costs, because our software helps automate the time-consuming and tedious tasks that most of their staff have to do to move, invoices through the systems, and to allow companies to pay the way they want to be paid. So some companies, believe it or not, especially in the U.S., still pay by check, and we automate that. Yeah. You can pay You can pay by card. You can put the credit card number in an email, will allow you to get paid. So we just make the whole order to cash process more seamless, more connected, more integrated, and make it easier for companies to work with their customers, improve the customer experience, make their employees happier, and their customers ultimately happier.
So this is separate from like an accounting software, like a QuickBooks or like a Waves accounting. This is not the same.
No, this is the accounts receivable. Some accounting software, some ERPs, for example, you look at like an SP and Oracle. They do a little bit of this, but they don't really have the full functionality. We have many customers who kind of got a little away there. It was better than a Google Sheet or Excel spreadsheet, but it didn't have the functionality. We have AI built into all our software. We do machine learning. We have analytics. You can visualize. You can predict collections, which accounts might be late payers, and you can proactively reach out and say, hey, we'd like to provide you a discount if you pay early. So we provide the analytics insight so you can optimize your cash flow, lower your cost of doing business, and improve customer satisfaction all at once.
I see. Okay. Well, it makes sense. That's why Coca-Cola, Caterpillar, FedEx, these big companies are working with you guys. Makes a lot of sense. So I want to get a sense of how big Billtrust is. I want to get to know a little bit about the numbers, and I'm going to be a little cautious because this is where we usually take most of our hot sauce shots. So I'm ready. I got my spoon ready just in case you're not going to answer any of these questions. But my first question to you is, a lot of startups are bootstrapped. Some raise money. Did Billtrust raise any money during the course of their growth?
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, I joined Simon in January of this year, so about 6 months into it. A company has a history of more than 20 years. And over that time frame, several rounds, the company raised over 100 million.
Okay, 100 million. Okay.
Several years over several rounds.
Right.
So significant.
Okay. And I also read somewhere that there was an acquisition that happened recently. Am I correct? Can you tell us a little bit of the details?
Yeah, and it's an interesting history because, as you know, I've been acquired 7 times. I've been part of acquiring 21 companies, so I've seen it from both sides of that equation. Yeah. Billtrust went public after a great run of growth in January of 2021. In December of last year, Billtrust was acquired by EQT based out of Switzerland for $1.7 billion.
Holy smokes. Okay. So big. And this was December of last year. So valuations were still decent at the time?
Yeah, I can't really comment on valuation. I don't know if that's a hot sauceable, but what we can say was it was over the trading price. It was public at the time. And the company had communicated that they expected 2023 revenue more than 150 million. And since the acquisition happened before the year was out. So is that a hot sauce one?
Yeah, I thought that it seemed like they were going to let you get away with it. I don't know why it was such a late flight, but all right, we'll do it. All right, I'm moving down. I'm moving down to the third one. This is also habanero.
Yeah,
we'll slowly get
great pepper.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh god.
Yeah, that's pretty healthy.
That is.
I can see the smoke coming out of your
ears. Oh my goodness! All right. So big acquisition. This is December, and you joined in January, right? So you joined right after acquisition, or did you join in the midst of the acquisition while it was still going on?
Yeah, right after the acquisition, I joined. The CEO joined in December. CFO as well, and I joined in January.
All right, cool. And so it looks like your main ICP are going to be like the CFOs of the companies, right? CFOs, maybe the CEOs. Is that pretty accurate?
VP of Treasury, Controller is another persona that they're all on our website. The AR manager, accounts receivable manager. Just like I was on a flight back last night, and I was just so happens I'm talking to a CEO who's now going to become a prospect. I won't mention the company, but I said, "Well, how did you guys get your customers to pay?" Well, we've got Betty, and she's got her list on Friday, and she's a bulldog. And I said, "Well, great. You want to give Betty 4 hours free up from her day, and she doesn't have to keep calling customers." So that's exactly you are right as far as CFO is generally the highest level. Sometimes smaller companies, the CEO gets involved.
Yeah. At what point does it switches and then the CFO gets more involved? Like, have you found in your experience, like there's a certain size, like less than 10 million, maybe CEO is more involved, and then after 10 million is more CFO, and then after 100 million, then like treasury or accounts receivable. Like, do you know the different sizes for your ICPs?
I can't share exactly because it varies so much. There's a number. We sell to a number of verticals, heavy machinery, transportation, business services, and so forth. Other mid-size, called mid-market companies, a lot of enterprise, as you mentioned. Right. And so, as it gets larger, over 25, over 50, over 100 million, those are key demarcations where higher level individuals will probably get more involved. And as you know, in the modern buying buyer's journey, that tends to be a buying committee. So you may have somebody who's most influential, but you have other contributors, participants. They look at the demos, they check out your user interface, ease of use, and so forth.
Yeah. And I can imagine this quite sticky, right? Your service must be quite sticky. Or like once you onboard an accounts receivable software and it's collecting all the money for you and you're seeing it doing well, you're not going to want to switch to another accounts receivable software, right?
Yeah, it's very, as you say, it's sticky, it's persistent. Another thing we do that really helps us, maintain is how well we serve our customers. We're very customer focused. And in addition, there's a real distinction between accounts receivable getting paid and accounts payable having to pay. And there's probably nearly 200 AP portals, and we actually seamlessly integrate with it. So if you are one of our customers and you have to pay a vendor and say, go to this portal, we take the pain away. We make the integration for you so you can not have to worry about having to, auto log into a portal and extra manual steps. And so that's another benefit from our order to cash offering.
Wait, so you can pay directly on Billtrust with all your AP as well?
Yeah. Well, the AP portal, when you have to, go through the AP portal, we automate that. Makes it easier for you to get paid.
I see. Makes sense. How much money are you guys making? What's your guys' revenue right now as of like last year or this year?
Well, we were public last year, and that's all disclosable. We're now private, not disclosable.
Okay, so what was it before when it was public?
Yeah, Q3 was reported about 50 million. So every 3 months, a public company report, and the company had said that revenue was projected through the full year above 150 million.
Okay, so that was before when it was public. Now when it's private, it's probably even more, like 200 million.
We don't disclose private numbers. You knew that was coming.
All right. I just wanted to get up to this Carolina Reaper. This is where it gets dangerous. This is where I want to stop asking you tough questions, because this is where it gets really dangerous. I'm going to shake this up. I'm going to go light. Go light for Carolina Reaper. Yep.
Probably a good decision to go light on that one.
It starts getting, so that's like a Carolina Reaper mixed with Scotch bonnet. It gets spicy.
Let's see.
Whew. All right. This is where you do most of the talking, so this is perfect. So obviously you guys are targeting B2B. A lot of your marketing channels are probably B2B. Talk to us a little bit about what kind of channels Billtrust is using. What are your top marketing channels right now to get new customers?
Yeah, probably like a lot of my peers, performance marketing, pay per click, whether it's, Google, Bing. We also, have a lot of success because we can target a title quite precisely in a certain revenue range with LinkedIn. So those are performing well. And of course, SEO, like any company, there's a lot of terms out there. We drive a lot of organic traffic through SEO. We actually find that webinars, especially if they're providing what I call takeaway value, helping you get more context in what's happening in the economy, what's happening in the world of finance, the office of CFO, run your business better. Those work well. Analyst webinars in particular, but overall just educational webinars work well. We do at a number of industry trade shows and events. We actually have what we call Insight on the Road coming up in August and September. We're going to be in four cities, and we've communicated that to our customer base. And we do other things like content syndication, and various other modalities to reach customers through, like crowdsourcing is pretty good. And we actually, here's a fun one. We used ChatGPT, helped us out, and we created a new persona that we didn't have on our webpage, and we're getting a lot of web traffic for the VP of Treasury. And of course, some of our content sends to the VP of Treasury, but I think all my peers are, adopting where it makes sense to speed automation and time to market with how to leverage with proper prompt engineering ChatGPT. So if you go to our website and VP of Treasury, you'll find lots of good content.
All right. So summary, you got PPC, SEO, webinars, events, and content. Five top channels.
Those are the top channels. Yeah.
Where, in terms of your marketing budget, what % do you think goes into each of these buckets? How would you break these five parts down?
I would say that the highest amount goes into the pay-per-click, and that's not unusual for my last couple companies that I've been at. It's performance-based. You can dial it down. Yeah. One of the things we're doing uniquely is trying to drive it towards a web conversion, not just web traffic. In other words, conversion, somebody fills out a form or says, hey, I'm a hand raiser, I want to talk to sales. If we can attribute that to a specific campaign, that obviously is something we'll want to do more of. And then one of the lowest cost, and people say, well, just do more of these, are webinars. Like, you can't just do a webinar every day just because it's low cost, because you actually have to have people attend the webinar, right? And then want followed up with. And like most companies, we have a good process where we have an SLA with our inside sales, ADRs, BDRs, SDRs, they're often called. So if somebody has an interest, they're showing an intent signal, they're taking a specific action to participate in one of our marketing channels, then we follow up and further qualify their level of interest.
Right. Okay. So PPC is your biggest channel. You reckon 40, 50% of your marketing budget goes towards PPC or less?
You're right in the range.
Okay. So 40
hot sauce, you just really understand how this works.
Oh yeah. Exactly. And then in terms of the events, what % of your marketing budget do you think is going towards events nowadays? And is there any plan to ramp it up?
Well, I'm an ROI of everything guy. I like to measure. Everything should be modeled out on the expected return to determine if you judiciously invest more or less. And events are about 10%, and I think that's sort of in the range of what I've experienced before. I will say during COVID, we all obviously cut back with virtual events. I don't think virtual has ever met the results of the build the result in person. I don't know if we ever can. I don't care what platform that you're on. You can certainly make it better. But having been at a few in-person events recently, people were pretty excited to be back there. So we're always looking. We're talking to sales. Obviously, we're looking at the results of an event. Should we go there next year or next quarter? And we use that as input criteria.
Nice. And then in terms of content, what kind of content do you guys usually create? I think you mentioned a little bit on your website, but are you guys doing a lot of video type content, podcasts, social media, videos, shorts? What type of content are you guys investing in? right now?
It's a great question. We're doing all those, all that content. We find a lot of engagement with our long form content. I have a dedicated content marketing team, and I have 2 agencies. So we create content for all personas, for all areas of thematically on reducing your costs, controlling costs, accelerating your cash flow, and we're continually producing content. We've actually had this in the last 5 months. We've had 5 pieces about how our AI can help automate financial processes and speed how fast you get paid and reduce risk. And we're getting a lot of readership. We've got one coming up on how the CFO can be more of a strategic driver to the company's growth, and how we can help in that regard. But yeah, we have videos we find work pretty well. More of them probably on social media, but we have short, I call snackable content on our website, and we have a series of these videos that we're going to continue to do. Spotlights on how technology from Billtrust help companies better address a challenging economy.
Yeah. Cool. So what % of your marketing budget do you reckon goes into content? You got a dedicated content person and you have 2 agencies. It's probably not cheap.
Yeah, it's approaching the 10% as well.
Okay. So you got 50% PPC, 10% events, 10% of content, and the rest for between SEO and webinar, that's about 30% of your budget.
I would also include the sort of the web itself. So that the adding capabilities to our web. So
website.
You have to invest, right? We have Sitecore, another EQT company. I'm happy to say.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And how much do you reckon you guys spend per month or per year? Like, what's your marketing budget looking like?
You're looking for more hot sauce, aren't you? So here we go. Let's go for another. Where you at?
They were ready for that one. Like that one went on really fast. That was really fast.
Yeah, to be true. Yeah. I'll take an extra big hotter.
All right. We're almost at the end. I'm going to go very light on this one. This one usually kicks my butt.
Yeah. If what's going to happen, it may be after this particular night.
Exactly.
Ready?
Cheers. All right. Whew.
Do you have a highlight reel of your reactions to the hottest sauce? That would be a great one, just like a replay. Find this highlight reel of how painful. If you haven't tried this, get ready.
I think we're planning on doing that. I just haven't done a lot of that. We've done it on YouTube, and it typically does really well. Like we'll get we've gotten a lot of views from our hot sauce. Our shorts get on average 800 to 1.4K views per short.
Sweet.
We've gotten 180,000 views on our shorts in 11 months. So it's been pretty incredible. Oh my God, that is so spicy. Whew. All right. Cannot share marketing budget, but usually it's around 10% of revenue. Usually. Is that the case at Billtrust as well, or?
Well, I already said I couldn't answer the marketing budget. If you want to take another shot, you're welcome to. That's the same question. I'm going to call you on that one.
All right. Okay. That's no lights. We're good. So we can't talk about numbers, but what about this question? Like, out of all the different channels we talked about, without sharing the return and the ROI or the numbers, which one of these channels would you say are the best in terms of ROI?
Analyst webinars in general, analyst webinars in particular.
Okay, maybe we'll dive deeper into that stuff later on. What about CPA? Do you have like a blended CPA? Like what's the cost to acquire one customer for you guys? Because you guys are B2B, usually it's more expensive.
Yeah.
than B2C.
So,
But
yeah. So if, I think in general, in SaaS companies, you look at the average contract value for us, it's, in the 50K range, right? For, company our size, it makes a lot of sense. And anybody could look at our, number of customers and all that kind of good stuff. And you sort of get a sense of that. And so, we're in the thousands in single digits, because you want to get, in my view, you want to get at least a 5-to-1 ROI
right.
for every dollar, right? And so that's kind of where it is. And leads as a portion that we get leads in the hundreds. Okay. It takes a number of leads. MQLs are often called, or MQAs, marketing qualified accounts, or leads to add up to ultimately in what's called the waterfall, the funnel from the top of the funnel to close one business to actually get, you said, per account. And so, yeah, you're right in that range.
Okay. So it's in the single digit thousands. So between 1 to 9,000.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. And then ACV, you said, is about 50,000. We talked a little bit earlier about how sticky a customer is. What would be an LTV of a customer? I don't know if you guys track that. I'm sure you do track it.
Yeah,
you're a numbers guy.
The company's been in business for 20 years, and we have lifelong customers, and as you say, they're being sticky. So you're talking hundreds of thousands. If the first year is going to be 50, hundreds of thousands is an LTV would be a good range.
Okay, makes sense. Now, before we close off this loop, I want to go back to the webinars a little bit. Webinars, it's really tough to get attendees. Maybe during COVID, everyone was like, what are we doing? There are no in-person events. I'm going to go to as many webinars as possible, online events. But to your point, engagement has dropped a lot. Everyone's looking for in-person events now. What are you guys seeing in terms of webinars? Like, what has been your success? Like, how many people come to them? How long does it take to plan a webinar nowadays? And what kind of secrets do you guys have, or tips that would you guys have for other people that are looking to run more webinars?
Well, just make sure none of my competitors are listening to this, and I'll give you a few tips. So, don't market to our competitors. I won't mention them by name, of course. But yeah, ideally, you'd start a couple months before. No less than 4 weeks before. And I call audience acquisition. So you have to have a good database. You have to have a good thematic. We had one where we had an analyst on, and we knew that sort of his area of expertise. And but we actually asked Chat to suggest one of these engines to suggest a headline, and it was "Cash is King." And think about it, cash is king. That's been around, but in these times when the cost of capital is so high, and every CFO we know is preserving cash, and there was a subtitle to it, but I'll just leave you the headline. That worked well. Yeah. Having a good speaker, just because somebody's a knowledgeable analyst, you got to go check and see their other podcast, webcast. Did they have good engagement through the camera, if you will, and they come across as approachable, knowledgeable, interesting, and then getting everybody involved. So the pre-sales is involved, market is involved, sales is involved, and being nimble. In case you have any, you got to check check the technical aspects, and if on the fly fix something if something comes up, and then follow up. We actually have campaigns whereby some people register for various reasons they don't show, so you follow up, and then if they do show, you still follow up. So I think all those are sort of the pre, during, and post playbook tips that can help you deliver a webinar. And for us, there's not necessarily a number because it depends on the subject matter, the time. But if you can get over 100, I think that's really good. Wow, I've had certain webinars in my career, right, that I've approached 1,000, but generally, under 50 is not so good. Over 100 is really good. Those are sort of general parameters.
And you run them on Zoom, or do you use a different software, or on LinkedIn? Because LinkedIn Live, a lot of people have been testing that out. Like, what do you guys do?
Generally on Zoom, but there's other platforms that we've used over time. Depends on sort of that. Sometimes an analyst, they have their own platform, and we'll just leverage that. So there's different capabilities.
Wow, 100 people coming on, and they're all in the finance space. All VPs of Treasury, AR people, AP people, and CFOs. Right? Those are the people that come into the room.
Our target audience personas, exactly.
Wow, incredible. All right, I think that does it for. We might have some more questions that will come up, but for now, I think. Oh, one last question. We talked about Coca-Cola. We talked about Caterpillar, FedEx. Out of all your customers, who would be like your largest customer or your largest client or partner?
Sure, that would be the one that I can't name.
No.
You knew that.
There's a bigger company than Coca-Cola? Walmart?
Well, I don't know about bigger company. You said largest company. Are you asking how large they are as a company or how large they are to us? If you're asking how large they are as a company, you already have your answer.
Oh, okay. Those are bigger companies than that. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I guess I'm going to go back a little bit because I'm feeling I'm feeling a little spicy right now.
Yeah.
And then we're going to move over to a new segment. I think you're going to like it. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay. Cheers.
That one's still strong, I think.
Yeah, it's still strong. Not as strong as this one, but then this one gets worse. So I'll leave that. All right, moving to a new segment. This segment, we're gonna just talk about trending things, trending topics on that everyone is kind of talking about right now, and just want to get your take on it. One of the things that's really, really trending is just the whole idea of the metaverse. Apple now is releasing, I don't know if you saw the new Apple Vision Pro. It's like $3,000, and then you can basically see your computer on like a VR headset. What is your take on what's happening with the metaverse? Do you play around with that stuff at all, or is that completely out of your realm?
It honestly, it's out of my realm. I have sons that are 22 and 23, and they were born digital, and they're online, and they gaming and virtual and all that good stuff. But when I've got free time, I'm probably outdoors playing tennis or indoors watching sports, not in the VR headset.
Yes. Are you a big basketball fan or hockey fan? Are you watching any of the playoffs?
I'm near LA. I was at Lakers game 4. Give Denver all the credit. It was a great game, lost by 2. But yeah, I love basketball. My second favorite sport to tennis, only because I can play tennis. I can't play basketball.
Ooh. Are you watching what's happening right now?
Not right now. I do know I do know who's in the finals.
Who's in the finals? Yeah.
30. My TV's over there, so every once in a while, if I have a break between meetings,
so you watch that.
And I know who I'm rooting for.
Nice. Who are you rooting for?
Rude.
That guy is insane. The game between him and Rune. Is that the quarter? That was a quarterfinal, right?
Another up and coming player in the
so
battle
good.
in North. Yeah, that was great. And hey, look, Federer is my all time. He's retired at 20. I'm a lefty. I love Nadal, number 2. So hey, if Djokovic wins, all the power to him. Yeah. But I'm rooting for the up and comer.
The up and comer. Wow, nice. Okay, you heard it first. I mean, this episode is going to come out in August, so we'll actually know the answer. You want to bet a shot on that?
Why not?
We're already 5 shots in.
Nito want to it'll make it more interesting, win or lose. I'll take a shot. I'll take Ruud. You taking Djokovic?
Yeah. I mean, I like Djokovic he just has all the experience, right? But you're right. Ruud is just he is Okay, all right. I'll take the other guy. We'll take Djokovic. All right. So not much on the metaverse side, but we did talk about AI. That obviously is a huge huge topic right now. Everyone's talking about it. You already talked about testing out with ChatGPT. Are there other tools that you're using right now? Other things that you're testing out in the AI world?
Yeah, I actually, speaking of content, my director of content marketing, Jermaine on the team, I threw down the gauntlet. I said, I want all 40 plus folks in marketing to be learning how to do prompt engineering. I'm not going to hire a prompt engineer. I just sort of believe like everybody should adopt technology.
Everybody. Yeah.
Right. Everybody. And I don't care, if you're a first year marketer or 20th year, like, get with the program. And so I've had him go to a number of my CMO peer groups that I'm in where we have experts on, marketing and AI. And there's a whole list of tools. And what we're doing is we're looking to specialize. Like, I'll give you one example. I won't name them all, but like for copywriting Jasper, there's another AI tool to help us with the press releases. We got another one to help us with website automation. And, he believes, and so we were talking about this actually, because we had the offsite in Chicago yesterday, that over time, these big players with, deep pockets, Microsoft's or Google's, there's so much, you can't even keep up with the latest. There's like a website, like what, AI tool came out today, or this fast last hour, it'll consolidate like every market over time.
Yeah.
And, those sort of the leaders will kind of put a toe in the water. Eventually they'll snap up the best thing and, winnow it down. But it's great to see this amount of innovation, honestly.
Nice. Yeah. I believe that at the end of the day, and we've had several CMOs come on say this, at the end of the day, AI is another tool. It allows us to do things faster. It's going to be like any other, like when Canva came out, or when PowerPoint first came out, or when Microsoft Word first came out. Like it's going to speed up the process. But at the end of the day, it's the people that's going to matter the most. It's the people that are working on AI that matter. So the fact that you're throwing down the gauntlet and saying everyone like start playing around with it, that should be what everyone is telling their team. Every leader should be telling that to their team, because if you don't learn AI, you're behind. Like good luck, right?
You're behind. I'll give you one other great example. We had a get together. We have offices. Not many people go into the offices, as you know. So we had one in Chicago and Denver and New Jersey, the headquarters, and Atlanta. And I'm talking to one of my content creators in Chicago yesterday, and he's experimenting with a tool that helps speed creating the 2-minute video. So he'll film 5 minutes, and the tool just helps. He said, "Grant, this would have taken me hours."
Cut. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool, and obviously you probably, or maybe you've seen the Adobe commercial. They've already incorporated in some of their tools. So yeah, but ultimately, I think some people are afraid. I'm not afraid. Just we can do more and do better, but the human element and the discretion, discernment will always be important.
Yeah, but it's just crazy. Before a small company might change their website once a year or twice a year. Now with AI, they can revamp and they can rebrand in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And so you're right. I don't think it's going to replace a lot of jobs. I think a lot of people are saying, are they going to replace my job? I think the jobs will still be there, but we'll need to do a lot more to stand out from the rest of the crowd. You can't just create Me Too products anymore. So that's another fear, is that AI, one of the fears is that if everyone uses the same AI tools, everyone's going to be creating the same content, and it's going to be a Me Too kind of thing. Are you worried about that at all, or there's enough creativity within your team or within each individual?
I'm not worried about my team, Simon. I hope my competitors get lazy and they all do the same. They don't stand out from a sea of sameness, right? Or they submit briefs that have fictitious cases that are not case law. I saw that one. That ChatGPT failed that one, but anyway, I'm not worried about it.
Okay, cool. And then finally, the last kind of trend that we're seeing, a lot of CMOs coming on the show are saying that there's a huge shift away from performance advertising, performance marketing like PPC, because of the difficulty of retargeting now. All the new privacy laws and updates, it's harder and harder to retarget. And so most of your ads almost act like a brand awareness campaign. And a lot of people are cutting back or eliminating Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Google ads are still working. Google and LinkedIn maybe still work, but a lot of companies are cutting back spend everywhere else, and performance marketing seems to be on a downwards trajectory. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've talked to peers. I probably know 100 CMOs, and they have said that, Simon. We were not really on those platforms that are most affected. Facebook.
Yeah.
And so, not necessarily a meaningful, impact to us, but it seems like that's probably going to, be an ongoing trend.
Do you think that's going to leak over to Google? Google is thinking of banning cookies, which is going to make it harder and harder to retarget. So then it all becomes about the keyword. You can't really retarget. Although there's a huge question mark around how effective retargeting has become anyways. Over the years, it's gotten, worse and worse. And also the cost of ads have been increasing. Do you see any of this trend leaking over to Google or LinkedIn based on your experience or?
Yeah, well, based on how they changed their policy, but I don't retargeting. You were asking me earlier, like, what are the key areas that drive, increased engagement and productivity for marketing spend? That wasn't one of them. I started 10 years ago. Whenever it started, I'm an early adopter when it comes to technology. I'm just a believer if it can help improve your marketing's contribution to business success, then give it an experiment or two. It's like, if it works, do more of it. If it doesn't work, stop doing it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We have another segment that we're going to move over to. This one's might be a little bit interesting. It might get spicy.
Lucky for me, there's only 5 minutes left in the show, but go ahead.
I'm going to tell you 3 jokes. Okay. I'm going to mix in some marketing related jokes, some non-marketing related jokes, but most are like one-liner dad jokes. I'll tell you 3 jokes. If you can successfully not laugh, and I think you're pretty stoic, I think you're not going to laugh, I'll take a shot. But if you laugh at any of the jokes, you're going to take a shot. All right? Okay. You look super ready. I'm not going to break you. You're Nikola Jokic when it comes to the stoic face. So I'm okay. All right.
Appreciate the compliment.
All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
How do you teach? Because you have kids. What's the best way to teach kids about taxes? You eat 38% of their ice cream. Damn. All right. Okay. So that's one.
So that might have worked for a younger CMO.
All right. Let's see.
All right. Next one.
Okay. This one's a good one. I think this one's going to make you laugh. Let's see. Why did the dad know that his daughter would be a great marketer one day? Her first word was data. Data. Damn. All right. Damn, you're good. Did that get you at all?
And I had to really resist. I will give you credit, but I passed that test.
Data.
No, it's good. That's a great. I'm going to use that one, but I won't be smiling during.
All right.
Third try.
Last one. Man, this one is okay, all right. Did you hear about the guy who got hit in the head with a can of soda?
No.
He was lucky it was a soft drink. Oh, that was bad. That was all right. This is me. This is all me.
You just need people who aren't poker players like me.
Oh my God. Holy smokes. Which one did you like the most out of those 3?
Look, I really had to fight data. That was a good one.
Data.
Yeah. And you'd have to be a modern marketer. If you're like an old school marketer, you wouldn't have probably got that. Would you think, well, how about some more creative? How about another ad? Flashy ad, that'll do the trick.
Yeah, exactly. I think we got like 2 minutes left before we cut out. You've been a great sport, Grant. We've taken far too many shots of hot sauce. Before we head out, maybe a couple more questions. If people listen all the way through, they must really like you, and they want to know more about you. What was like? What is something that you're working on right now, aside from AI? Like something that you're trying to improve on as a leader, because leaders are always constantly improving. What are some things that you're trying to improve or work on this year?
Well, I would say, look, I'm always trying to build up my team. I realized early on that I can only be as effective the collective capability, engagement, energy, and output of my team. But I also try to inspire other CMOs. I have a site, cmomentor.com, and I write blogs like once a month. Lessons learned, calls to avoid, how to manage your first 90 days, your next 90 days. Those are just a couple of the recent blogs. And so, that's my advice.
Wow. And do you have, obviously you're very successful. You've had many success as a CMO. Did you have mentors, or were your parents very entrepreneurial? Did you learn a lot from, like, who would you attribute a lot of your success to, or most of your success to, aside from yourself?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, so my dad was an entrepreneur, and so we have that sort of the family to take some risk and try to build something with value for society, and then you get rewarded, and you and your employees. But I've had good mentors along the way. One of my mentors went on to become the CMO of Dell, pretty well-known brand, and just the way he'd approach things. I had another mentor who has since retired, did so well, and but just the way that he would engage his teams and empower his leaders, I found inspiring. And I've worked for a lot of CEOs and founders, and God bless founders. Not all companies make it, but that drive, that energy, that sense of urgency, I try to take that and put that into practice every day.
Amazing. All right, for people listening and they want to learn more about you and your personal life, what's the best way to learn about, like, where can they follow you? Are you on Twitter, LinkedIn, or any other platforms?
Yeah, LinkedIn's the best. I've done occasional, but LinkedIn, Grant T. Johnson 1, LinkedIn, that's where you find me. And obviously cmomentor.com, best places where I'm communicating.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This is only the first time we've had you on the show. We're definitely going to have to get you back on whenever you have time. Appreciate your time, Grant, and we'll catch you soon.
Great job hosting. Thanks, Simon, and thanks for being such a good sport and taking so many shots.
Well, guys, that's it for another spicy episode of Marketing on Mars. I'm really not sure who got burned more, my taste buds or the guest taste buds. My mouth is on fire. Real talk, though. If you're not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Each episode I make is basically an unedited, raw dinner with some of the leading marketing voices. They tell us the truth, or they take a shot of hot sauce. We're on almost every single platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and more. There's really no excuse. Until next time, Martians, keep it hot and keep it real.